Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat 3 Career Mode. Today we will be racing at Iowa for Haley Deegan's race and our own race in Sonoma, which obviously is the first road course race of the season. We have yet to go to a road course, so I'm excited to get into the road course racing. Last time we were here, we got kind of blown away in Sonoma, but we come to Haley Deegan's Iowa race. For a quick recap, she started down in 23rd. This is a tough track to run well at, but fortunately throughout this race she would actually work her way forwards as Cole Custer started on the pole position as we went down into turns 3 and 4. Haley Deegan 3 wide with the 5 of Annette and the 11 of Ryan Truex, and by the time we came to about the midway point in this race, she worked herself up to about the 12th position, right behind the 1 of Sadler and the 00 of Custer, who were the front 2 drivers now all the way back outside of the top 10 as she battled to the inside of the 00. But by the time we came in towards the last few laps in this race, to the last lap actually, she would end up losing a few more spots and drop down to the 14th position in through turns 1 and 2 for the final time, running a bit of a different line as she went up towards the middle line, down the back straightaway for the final time into turns 3, looking like she's going to hang on to the 14th position through turns 3 and 4 for the final time, and that's exactly how it would end as she came out of turn 4, and Haley Deegan would bring home a 14th place finish in Iowa. So certainly not a great finish after we had a solid run in the last race, so hopefully we can rebound once again in the next time around for her race. Either way, though, it still doesn't matter too much since we are locked in to the playoffs with that win earlier in the season, as she did get a whole bunch of money for the team right there. Now, as you see, we got like the 14th place finish and $750,000 now as we focus our sights on the Sonoma race in the first road course of the season for the Cup Series, as we are looking for our first road course win. We've run good at the road courses in the past. Now as we come to our qualifying lap, looking to get into the second round, and unfortunately you can see I overshoot the final turn very hard. It was certainly not a good effort on this opening lap, and it was the only lap I would actually run now as we come through to cross the line. We would set a 1:13.273, and I would call it there, and it was a bad idea because we will start 22nd for Sonoma, so let's see if we can rebound from this poor qualifying effort.
The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series hits the road today, literally, for the running of the Toyota Save Mart 350. Sonoma Raceway is the first of 3 road course events on this year's schedule. This twisting 12-turn, 1.99-mile drive through the heart of wine country is a true test of racing skill. There's over 160 feet of elevation change here, something that isn't obvious when watching on TV. Now, some turns are completely blind, like turns 3 and 3A, and you're almost always on the wheel here, which requires a different mindset after all the oval races. The pace car is coming down pit road. We're ready to go racing on PRN.
All right, we're ready to get going in Sonoma. Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr. on your front row, as Busch is the pole winner here in Sonoma. Kevin Harvick sent to the rear of the field after failing technical inspection, and that's your only driver sent to the back as we ram into the back of our teammate Kyle Larson before the green flag's even out apparently. But as we get ready to go green, the green flag is out in Sonoma, and we are underway behind the 42 of Kyle Larson as we come across the line into the first few corners of this road course, already making a little bit of contact with some other drivers as we come up the hill for the first time into the right-hander behind the 14 of Boyer, but we do get cleared by the 38 of Reagan, so he pulls up a position as we drift down 1 spot to 23rd as we battle alongside the 17 of Stenhouse, who actually gets into my door just a little bit, causing me to just go a little bit wide, but fortunately we hang on to the car now as we dive it in on the inside of Reagan going into the right-hander, trying not to hit him, but we do make contact with him on the exit of the corner. It's going to get a little rough here in Sonoma now as we look to the inside briefly of our teammate Kyle Larson as we exit, I believe, turn 5 now as we close up on the back of the 14, who is going really slow, and so were a few other drivers there in that on the exit of that turn. And Menard, he overshoots a little bit or something and lost the back end, but he does hang on to the car, and we go from 22nd on the first lap up to 18th so far now as we come through the little right bend as we head down the straightaway into the final corner with Jimmy Johnson on my back bumper. So certainly not a good start for the 48 now as we head into the hairpin, and Johnson gets into my left rear just a little bit as we exit the corner on the right-hand side of Paul Menard in the 21 as we come through to complete the first lap of Sonoma. Now as we cross the line, clearing him across the line just about. Now we do officially get past him with 4 to go in stage 1, now up into turns 1 and 2, and we get hit in the bumper by Menard, and around he's going to go. As you can see in my mirror, he just spun out, and around he goes, and the caution would end up coming out from that and end stage 1 early. So stage 1 was only like a lap long, but unfortunately that would obviously diminish my chances of making up a bunch of positions as we would get ready to start the second stage. And this first and second stage are pretty short, and that's simply because it kind of makes up for the final stage, which is a pretty lengthy stage. Now as we get ready to take the green flag is back out. Stage 2 is underway now as we approach the back bumper of the 10 of Eric Almirola as we cross the line. It is 7 laps in stage 2. It is extended by about a lap or 2 because of stage 1 ending early. Now as Jimmy Johnson got to my left-hand side as we come up the hill with Clint Boyer on my back bumper, now side by side with the 48 still, but we do clear him on the exit of the corner, looking to the right-hand side of Eric Almirola, who won in the last episode over myself, as we could just barely not, we were barely not able to get past him, unfortunately. Now as we make a diving move up the inside of Newman, making contact with him on the exit of the turn 4, I believe, now as we head down into turns 5 behind the 12 of Ryan Blaney, moving our way up for sure, as we have a very close call with the 2 of Brad Keselowski as he lost a ton of momentum on the exit of the corner. And by the time we came to the end of lap 1 in stage 2, we did run down the 12 of Ryan Blaney as we got all over his back bumper heading up the hill into the first few corners now as he's on the back of Bubba Wallace, is one of his best friends, but we did look to his right hand side as we came through, making a little bit of contact with the 12 as we come into the left bend, making even more contact with Blaney as we come out of the corner, trying to pull ahead of him as we come through side by side down into the turn, but we do clear him and get up to the 12th position, so closing in on a top 10, which is ultimately the goal here. Maybe by the end of stage 2 we might be able to pull off a top 10 in the second stage as we close in on the back of the 43 of Bubba Wallace. Now looking to his right hand side, certainly a little bit ambitious, as maybe that I shouldn't have done that, but now once again we look to his right hand side again on the exit of the right bend through the left bend, and we're going to pull ahead of Bubba Wallace and take the 11th position away as we set our sights now on 10th place of Chase Elliott at this time. And by the time it came to 2 laps to go in the second stage, we would move our way up into that 10th position behind now 9th place of AJ Allmendinger, who's behind the 41 of Kurt Busch. As we come through the first few corners, you see Danica Patrick up there actually running in the top 10 somehow, some way she's doing it, as we come up to finish the run up the hill now as we close in on the back of the 47 of Allmendinger now as we come into turns 4 behind the 41 of Kurt Busch. He sits as we get really loose on the exit of the corner now down the straightaway into turn 5, closing in even more on Allmendinger as Chase Elliott's lurking behind me. He has closed the gap as well as the 41's actually pulled away from the 47, so certainly AJ Allmendinger not showing the speed that we kind of expect out of him, as this will be his final season in this 47 car. Once we go to the 2019 DLC, he will no longer be piloting that Chevrolet, as it will be Ryan Preece as he goes on 2 wheels on the exit of the corner now as we're on the last lap of stage 2. A very interesting moment for AJ Allmendinger, but he is able to hang on to the car. But now Allmendinger pulls away just a little bit between himself and I as we head down in towards the final, I guess, sector of this track, as we do close in on him now as we come through the S's now into the left bend. Danica Patrick looking like she's going to get a solid 6th place finish somehow in the second stage, as we just try to hang on to this last stage position, as we do still try to get to the back of Allmendinger as we head down in. We kind of overshoot the bend there, and that's going to allow Allmendinger to pull away even more as we head down in towards the final corner here in stage 2, as we do close up on his back bumper, but we're going to not be able to quite get to him as we exit the final corner heading down towards the line. Allmendinger will hold on to 9th, but we will still get 10th and 1 point here in the second stage. So certainly a good effort from this team now, as Chase Elliott is the first car out of any stage points, and your stage winner is Kyle Busch, so a playoff point to him as we get ready to start this final stage. And I turned the tire wear down to 1x because the last time we were here, when my tires wore, the AIs didn't wear at all, and we got completely blown away. Now as the green flag is back out and the final stage is underway, and we're going to really see what we can do now as we are in the top 10 with a chance to maybe fight for a top 5 as we get hit in the left rear by Bubba Wallace. He's going to force a 3 wide into the first few corners now as we exit the first few sets of bends now with Chase Elliott on my left-hand side. We do clear him and hang on to the 10th position momentarily as we come into the right bend, look into the inside of AJ Allmendinger, getting a little bit sideways on the exit of the corner, but we do hang on to the car as we force a 3 wide of the inside of the 41 and the 19 of Busch and Suarez. The Suarez does back out of the situation. And we're going to go side by side into the right-hander with Kurt Busch now through the entrance. We're going to come out of here clear of him as Casey Kane checks up big time just in front of me. And now as we head into the S's, we've worked our way up to 7th place, behind 6th place of Casey Kane, now closing in on him out of the right-handers. We get really sideways and into the grass we go, hitting towards the wall, but we make a huge save to keep it off the wall, and that was really a race-saving save as we easily could have ended up nose first into that in that right side wall, and I would have totaled the front end and would have probably DNF'd from the race now, but fortunately we hang on to the cars that completely cut the exit of turn 11, but fortunately we escaped one there, and we would work our way back forwards into the top 10 with 10 laps to go in this race. Certainly Sonoma is a very short race compared to any other race on the schedule in this game. Now as we come up the hill, closing in on the back of Suarez as they battle up ahead for probably about 6th through 9th as we try to run them down. And looking back on that save I made a handful of laps ago, I mean, it was such a big save because usually when I get in that situation, I go nose first into the wall. That was a very rare occasion that I keep it off the wall and get back on the track and only lose a few positions, as by the time I come to lap 20, looking to the right-hand side of Daniel Suarez as we have closed up on the back of him, obviously, now as we exit the right-hander, heading up the hill still, trying to take that 9th position away. Obviously, we're not in a winning position right now, as we have completely kind of screwed up earlier, and that allowed the leaders to get away as we look to the right-hand side of Suarez as we go into turns 4, making contact with him on the exit of the corner. Certainly not the first time we have made contact with someone on the exit of that turn as we force it a little bit wide for a moment, clearing Suarez now as we head down into the S's. And now we try to close the gap between myself and AJ Allmendinger now with just 9 laps to go, closing in on 8 to go through the S's. 17.5 seconds just over that actually to the leader. So obviously without a caution we're not going to be a threat at all to win this race, unfortunately. But by the time we come to lap 24 with 5 laps to go, we would work our way up to 8th past Allmendinger, now to the right hand side of Kurt Busch, trying to take the 7th place away, as this will also be his final season in that 41 car, as the future of that car is yet to be determined. It could be me going to that car next season as we do clear Kurt Busch as we head down up the end of the S's, down the straightaway, closing in on the back of Casey Kane, the driver that we pretty much just about got into the back of earlier, and then ended up kind of wrecking myself into the wall just about. But fortunately we came towards the end of lap 24, closing in right on the back of Casey Kane, trying to make a diving move to his inside as we come into the last corner, and we're going to do just that as we head into turns 11, and we will clear the 95 of Casey Kane, setting our sights on 5th place of Danica Patrick with just 4 laps to go at the line in this race. And by the time we got up the hill on lap 25, we closed in on the back of the 7 of Danica Patrick, setting our sights on the top 5 now as we exit the last portion of the hill down the straightaway, making a move to her right hand side into turns 4, and we would be able to come out of the corner still side by side with Danica, but we do clear her before we go into turns 5. She actually just about got into the back of me there for a moment as we head down in to the S's now. As you can see up ahead of me, no one is even in my sight, so by the time we come towards the last lap of this race, I just had no one to even run down, as we were almost 30 seconds behind the leaders. They have completely blown me away in this race, even when I was by myself, as we come to the white flag in Sonoma. Certainly not the ending of this race that I was hoping for. I was hoping we could maybe battle it out for a victory here in Sonoma, but unfortunately, obviously, that's not going to be the situation. Obviously, we still have this whole last lap possibly to get a caution, as cautions can happen on the white flag in this game as we come off the exit of the hill part of this course now as we head down into turns 4 for the final time on the exit, quite a bit a ways ahead of Danica Patrick as we almost hit the wall on the exit of the corner as we head down into turns 5 for the final time as well. Just trying to put the best lap together that I can at this point, as I actually did start closing the gap. It was down to 25 seconds about halfway through this lap, but at this point the leaders are already approaching the line and about to win this race now as we come through the S's for the final time here in Sonoma into the right bend. You hear the crowd cheering, and the race is official. Probably Kyle Busch's one. He seemed to be very dominant as we head down into turns 11 for the final time. Last season here we completely overshot this last corner and gave up a spot to Ryan Blaney, but this time around that's not the situation now as we come out of turn 11 through the final bend, and we will come through to get a top 5 in Sonoma. So certainly not a bad finish at all, finish to be confident off of, but it would have been nice if we could have battled it out for a victory here in Sonoma, as Kyle Busch did indeed get the victory over second place Joey Logano and third place of Martin Truex Jr. as our teammate Kyle Larson with another rough day with a 21st place finish. So certainly some of our drivers, including Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson, they weren't having the best of luck, and unfortunately Larson is my teammate and he's just really having not the greatest season at the moment as he tries to turn that around, hopefully, as we head into we're in the last half of the regular season at this point already, so we're going to see what we can do with this last half, hopefully pick up another win or two before the playoffs start. And in the next episode, we will be going to Chicagoland, which last season I ran pretty decent at. Wasn't great, but hopefully this season we can maybe pull off a victory, of course, in Chicago as we skip the contract opportunity, obviously. But if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Those would all be incredibly appreciated. I would like to thank you all for taking the time out of your day to watch one of my videos. There you see the playoff standings. Truex continues to lead as we are up in 5th, so certainly nothing to be ashamed of, as Elliott is now the last car in the playoffs. So I will see you guys in the next episode in Chicagoland. Thank you for watching, everyone, and have yourselves a great day. I'll see you next time.